You're about to enter the dragon's lair, suddenly out of nowhere. Oh, this reminds me about this one time in my other campaign. It was so good. Let me tell you all about it. Oh, have I already told you all about it? Oh, I'll tell you again. Anyway. You should look at this. It's hilarious. Can we please get back to the game? What was that? It's breaking immersion. Thank you. Sorry. Didn't mean to. So anyway. Oh, does anyone want snacks? I could get some nachos. Anyone fancy nachos? Oh, I should go pee if we're breaking. Wait, what? We were... Oh, it's cast fireball. Hello, you wonderful people, you. I am here today to help you in your pursuit to your best self, one game at a time. Today, we're going to tackle tangents in-game and out of game, and how you, as a DM, can keep your party on track and keep the game rolling. Let's get into it, shall we? Do remember to like, subscribe, and obey if you wish to keep on top of all of our new D&D releases. So, you may be thinking, as a DM, your biggest challenge is going to be your party and how to get them involved and enjoying the game. And I'm here to tell you that, no, that is not going to be your biggest challenge. Your biggest challenge is going to be tangents. Wait, whoa, we were... Now, tangents can be good. Sometimes they lead to interesting story plot and help flesh out your story where otherwise it may have been lacking. But there comes a point where you start to wonder whether or not the story is the same anymore, or whether or not it's all just one big tangent and you've completely lost it. Now, if you're following a campaign book, likelihood is you're not having too much trouble with that because you're railroading your party down the straight and narrow. But that is not to say the player characters themselves don't keep on getting distracted. Maybe running off with different trains of thoughts, maybe interrupting your game and its immersion by wanting to get you some snacks.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Either way, there are many ways in which tangents can become a problem when trying to run a long campaign. Now, I'm going to go over a few points that you might want to consider if you're having problems with tangents and keeping your player characters in-game, involved, and on topic. Now, point number 1. It might seem obvious, but tell them. Tell your players either before you start a game or when it becomes an issue that it is important to have game time and out of game time. If you keep these two separate, maybe having allocated time for both chatting outside of character and for solid, concentrated roleplay of the game, then you may be able to avoid some of the unnecessary distractions that you are likely to come across throughout your campaign. This is why Session 0 can be quite handy. You can stipulate 15 minutes at the start of each session for catching up, grabbing snacks, going for a toilet break, whatever it is that your party needs. And it can start off your session with a little less pressure and a little bit more of a relaxed, slow introduction into your game each time. It means that you and your players have an opportunity to ready yourselves, get yourself in the mindset of the game, and also to have that social aspect. Because even if you are really good friends, you've been together for a very long time, it's still nice to have that opportunity to switch from your normal everyday life to your sessions. If there's one thing that's really important with your campaigns, it's to make sure that you are expressing yourself and that you are getting your points across clearly and that everyone feels like they know where they stand. This will avoid unnecessary issues along the way, and it'll make it a lot easier during a game if this issue comes up to stop and go, can we get back to the game and not offend anyone? Now, it's important to remember that you are working as a group and it's not all on the DM. So if you're using, as suggested, a stipulated time for socializing, game time, and then aftercare, you're not only setting up a structure, you're also allowing your group to know exactly what to expect from the session and when things are appropriate and when things aren't. This way, it allows you to more cohesively work as a team to move the story along at the pace that you expect. Now, tangents can be both in-game and out-of-game, as I've mentioned, but if we're experiencing problems where players are going off on tangents outside of game, it can be useful to try to seize any opportunity to connect whatever's going on, the conversation at hand, with what's going on in the game to draw the attention back to the story. And to be able to utilize humor in this aspect and to make a joke out of it, that while also bringing everyone back into the game, allows you to keep the environment amicable and enjoyable for everyone, while also making a point to the fact that you are here to actually play a game and not to get distracted. When players start getting distracted and talking outside of the game for too long, this can really impede progress and it can be extremely frustrating as a DM. Now, the last thing that any group wants is a frustrated DM, because it's all fun and games until the DM decides to KO the entire party in a freak smelting accident. As a group, you have to remember that the DM can end it all in one swift moment.
I am inevitable.
So it is in everyone's best interest to try and keep the game focused and moving along at a pace that is good for everyone involved. Now, when it comes to tangents actually in-game, while some of these can be, as I've said, interesting additions, little subplots, can lead to story-enriching events, sometimes it can get extremely distracting and detriment your overall story and its development. For example, don't put a pet shop in a game.
I will get one and I'll call it Squishy and it will be mine and it will be my Squishy.
I think there's a pet store on the other side of the city.
Yeah, come on Ditto, let's go find the pet store.
Seriously, it's the worst idea that you could possibly have. If a player ever comes across an animal in a pub or a shop, do not respond with "from the pet shop." Because not only are your player characters going to seize this opportunity to go and see all of the wonderful pets that are in this wonderful pet shop that you totally haven't prepared and didn't think about and only mentioned in passing because you were just trying to think of a way to move on. But also, they're gonna try and buy every pet there, and before you know it, you're going to end up with a party full of animals tagging along that you haven't started. You end up 3 sessions down the road and somehow all of these pets are now fighting in Pokemon style battles and you don't know how you got here or in fact where the story even was when you left. Now, this is an extreme example, definitely not speaking from experience, that demonstrates how even small things can lead to very long and random tangents forming. Now, obviously you can't avoid it all of the time. Sometimes it's interesting and it's fun, but if it happens a lot, then think of responses that you may need to have just in case of such scenarios. For example, rather than going "from the pet shop," just go, "Oh, he's always been part of the family, you know? He's always been around. We don't really know much about him." Now, this adds intrigue, it adds a little flavour, but it also puts a stop to too many questions about this particular pet or NPC or whatever without being like, no, we're not going to answer that. We're not going to talk about Bob.
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
We don't talk about Bob. Because that's just gonna upset your players. It's going to feel like there isn't any depth to your campaign, and it's going to be frustrating. So try to give them enough information that it seems flavorful, but not so much that they go and pursue adopting every pet in the known world. Now, if all of these techniques and all of this advice doesn't really help, think about why it is that your players are going off on tangents. Is the story actually engaging them? Is the time that you've allocated to the game too long? Is it too far between? Are they not quite sure what it is that they're doing, who they are, who they're playing? Think about these things and talk to your group. Now, the key point of all of this is communication is key. And the best way to stop all of this happening, or to at least get a handle on it, is to talk as a group and work together. I hope these tips and tricks help you in your next campaign and help you avoid those little annoying tangents that kind of get in the way. Let me know down below in the comments any situations that your party have ended up in that were particularly amusing, how many pets that your group ended up adopting accidentally. And yes, I hope this helped, and I will see you all soon. Say bye all! Thanks to our Ko-Fi members for supporting the channel and allowing us to do this kind of stuff outside of streaming. And maybe you want to hang around and check out one of these lovely videos that's just popped up on your screen. You should look at this. It's hilarious.